My name is Arielle Hudgies. I am a sophomore here at BGSU, and I am doing a presentation on Commedia Arte. I decided to do the presentation on Commedia Arte so that I was able to explore the significance of the stock characters in today's theater as well as the improvisation aspect. The origin of Commedia Arte originated in Italy in 400 BC, flourishing within the 14th and the 18th century. It is improvised drama that implies rather to the manner of performance than the subject matter of the play, meaning that they can improvise at any point in the play. Doesn't really matter if it had anything to do with the subject, the theme, or the plot. The first Commedia dell'arte performance was at the Bavarian court in 1568 Italy. Slapstick is the style of theater for the Commedia dell'arte, and the reason why it is labeled as slapstick is because of the actual slapstick object that they used in much of their theater performances. The Commedia dell'arte was performed by a traveling troupe, and they did outside shows on outside stages for people to come and see the performances for free. Though people did often give charity to the groups and little pennies and dollars or whatever to the group, you know, just in their own generosity. But because of the outside performances and because they were a traveling troupe rather, their form or their format of structure was kind of staggered along Europe because of the different places that they performed in the different interpretations. The elements of Commedia dell'arte have several actually, but the first main element being stock characters, followed along by improvisation, lazzi, which is a form of comedic slapstick element, constant surprise, clearness and wit, mask, and acrobatic tricks. The themes in Commedia dell'arte circled around love triangles. They also circled around greed, money, as well as just outright simpleton. The stock characters in the Commedia dell'arte, the main ones used were the lovers. The lovers wore no mask. They just showed their face, as well as Pantalone, the captain, the doctor, as well as the servants, Tangelia, and Zanni. To get more specific, Pantalone played the stock character of the old man who was in love with money, often in love with younger women. He normally played the father or the husband to one of the main characters. The Zanni character was the humble servant. He was very charismatic, very personable in his characterization. The captain, however, played the cocky type of stock character. He believed that he could fight anyone and win. He believed that he could get any women at the end of the day, but no, there was never any proof. So he never had any proof. The doctor was kind of like, he either played the lawyer or he played the doctor, but he was very airheaded. He talked a lot in riddle. He never really made sense with his characterization. And later on we'll get into the prevalence or the relevance of today's stock characters. Also, if you notice the dress, the attire of these stock characters, they dress in lavish clothing and very ludicrous, big clothes, garments, big masks. The main character, one of the main elements of Commedia dell'arte was improvisation. And improvisation can be defined as something that you did without preparation, extemporary, impromptu type of theater. And though Commedia dell'arte did highlight on improvisation as an element, a lot of the plot and the themes were well known by all of the stock characters and the actors. So much so that none of the exits or the entrances were missed. So though it was improvisation and they didn't have time to prepare their scenarios or their themes or plots, they did have a clear understanding of what the play was about, when to enter and when to exit. The lazzi, as I mentioned earlier as one of the elements of Commedia dell'arte, is a humorous interpretation which is often used to arouse laughter at all costs. And many times it had nothing to do with what was going on actually in the play or had anything to do with the plot at all. So Lozzie was used, if I can explain it my best way, was used in between the improvisation when they didn't really know what to do next. They would involve Lozzie to provoke laughter. An example of this would be, I read a scenario about one of the plays that they did was one of the stock characters, Lovers. One of the Lovers is also a stock character that they used, and the Lovers was used as a person that one of the stock characters fell in love with. Their role was to have someone fall in love with them, or they were either in love with the idea of being in love. So one of the stock characters, Lover, fell ill. And so the element of Lozzie came in was to overcompensate for the mourning or the sadness of the lover being sick. He ate a big bowl of macaroni and cheese. And as he was eating the macaroni and cheese, streams of tears fell down his face. Now it made no sense. He was in mourning. His girlfriend or lover was sick. So what was the purpose of the macaroni and cheese? What was the purpose of crying and eating it? But that was the Lozzie element, the arousal of laughter that they tried to evoke. Other Lozzie elements would be causeless fights, pretense of stupidity, misinterpretation of orders with laughable results, puns, satiric actions, practical jokes, blows, trips, stumbles, and things of that nature. The mask. Commedia dell'arte also involved the mask. All of the stock characters, the main stock characters, besides the Lovers who did not wear masks, wore masks to, and these masks covered up their face, half of their face, and every mask was specifically made for each character, and the masks were used to heighten the expressions of the body expressions of each character. They were also used because back when the masks were first used, some of the content that was presented was not acceptable by some of the audience members or, you know, the people watching, so they had to use the mask to cover up who they were in performance or relevance to the themes or the plots or the ideas of the play. So the importance of Commedia dell'arte today is the fact that Commedia dell'arte was one of the, well, actually was the first element of theater to highlight on the woman having a leading acting role in the play. So Commedia dell'arte was the first acting form, improvisation acting form, to have a woman on the stage having a leading acting part in Europe. And so today's relevance, I have photos, I'm not sure if you can see, but I have two characters from The Simpsons. The Pantalone character, which was the old man with the shufflish walk, in love with money, kind of like didn't really care about other people's feelings. Well, that would be this character from The Simpsons, and as well as the doctor who played the guy who spoke in riddle, didn't really ever make sense. Well, that would be Homer from The Simpsons as well. And you can also relate back to today's stock characters being the nerd, the jock, just characters that you immediately recognize. As soon as they hit the stage, you know their role, you know their persona. That is today's relevance of stock characters. Thank you for listening. Over and out.